Name and answer. Welcome. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Beatles.
Thank you
very much indeed.
can sit here.
Can I? Yeah. Well, thank you very much, boys. I am absolutely delighted. As you know, that we're going to be joined later on by Catherine Whitehorn and Wolf Mankiewicz to talk about what you or they or anyone else feels like talking about. But I can't begin this show without starting off and congratulating Ringo. Ringo, congratulations.
Congratulations.
On you. How does it feel to be an expectant dad?
Not so bad, you know. Not so bad. I hope it's a boy or a girl. What do you say? What's
an eye.
Well, when it does come, boy or girl, George, you may well go to John here for some advice.
George, that's mine too. That's me.
Yes?
Nothing.
Two.
Yeah.
Will you be able to give him some good advice?
No.
No? Anyway, I know that you're working on your new film, and that means that you've less spare time than you ever had before, and I'm very delighted that you gave us some of your spare time tonight.
It's a pleasure coming.
Good night. Now, this is your second film.
Yes.
The first one, let's address this to you, Paul, so we have no confusion. The first one was compared to the Marx Brothers, remember?
Yes. Yes, well.
Have you ever seen the Marx Brothers?
Yes. Nothing like us.
Nothing like you, no.
We're nothing like that. No.
What sort of thing, and this is addressed to all of you, let's say with you, what sort of thing makes you fellas laugh?
The Marx Brothers.
John, do you have any preference in humor when you go to the cinema?
I like to see Ringo.
You do?
Sings very good.
Yeah. Ringo, any preference in comedy, slapstick, or smart talk, or what?
Laurel and Hardy.
Slapstick.
Yeah.
George?
Well, just recently we've seen the last few Peter Sellers films. I like all that, you know. What you say?
Yeah.
He's very good.
Peter Cook. Great.
Yeah, yeah.
Marvelous. Remember him? What good last week, Peter? There he is.
I like the other fellow, Lionel Humpty, or whatever his name is.
No.
Lionel Humpty.
I got my shirt.
A couple of plugs there in kind of introduction.
You were watching the Lionel Standers show.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it was?
Yes.
What kind of introduction's that? Let's do it again.
Which of you in the film, I know that you're playing yourselves, the Beatles, which of you is the best actor?
Me.
Yeah. Why are you the best actor, John?
Because Ringo said.
I always say he's the best.
What
pays me?
Now, in these two films, in this one and the one you did before, you are playing yourselves, the Beatles. Do you have any thoughts of the future, in a separate way, to be actors of other parts besides the parts of the Beatles? John?
No, couldn't do it.
We can't act.
We do so many cuts, it looks as though we're nearly acting, but we're not.
Paul's going to play Kathy and that.
Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, Wuthering Heights.
Right.
My big
Paul's
ambition. No, but we're not good enough as actors, you know, because they get, as John said, they get people around us in the film and just stick us in a little bit. Then there's a whole big pile of acting, and it looks as though we can act. We can't. It's a good director. That's very good.
Well, they say that directors are important, but don't you have any ambitions to be actors, Ringo?
I'd like to be an actor.
Do you see yourself in any particular kind of part?
Any part.
You can handle them all.
No, it's good fun, you know.
It's quiet, isn't it?
Apart from all the terrible bits, it's great.
Got a light, well, yes, I have. Well, even if you don't see yourselves as actors, boys, and everyone is interested in what you have to say and what you think about, how do you see the future, you know, the long, distant future, like when you're 35 or 40?
Through a glance.
We haven't planned, you know, and we're not planning now, still.
No, we're not planning.
Do you really mean that? That you don't
Really?
think about the future, John?
Yeah, no, we don't think about it.
We play it
all
by ear.
really. That's what our press representative tells us.
What do you say?
We play by ear. Do we? Yeah, I do. I've got big ears. Listen to this.
But surely at least two of you, Ringo now and you, John, as married men, you must give some concern to the future.
Well, we do have a bit more responsibilities, you know. Well, we keep Paul and George in hand, you know. Pull them on.
Now, how about this, Ringo? Do you think now, all right, what am I going to be in 10 or 15 years' time?
No, because I know, you know,
Older.
the only thing I'll be in 10 years is old.
And withered.
I'm withered-ites.
I like it.
You know, it's funny when someone said it before.
Well, your success anyway is obviously is assured. What do you think? You must get a great smile from all the psychologists and journalists and social thinkers who try and analyze the reason for your success. You must have written dozens of these.
It's rubbish, you know.
Rubbish,
I think so.
We owe it all to our manager.
Pardon? No, they do. You know, I don't think they know what they're talking about because they just try and analyse, you know, and it's not that deep. You know, they try and go into it. There's nothing there, really, is there?
Well, of course, there's a great deal there. Have you ever sat down yourselves and said, now, what apart from your musical ability, what is it that's made us such, because you are, as you know, a phenomenon, what caused it? It's a big word, isn't it?
We don't know at all. We'd always asked, you know. We haven't a clue. No, I don't think anybody has.
What made you, Eamon?
That's a good question. But I have a quote here from somebody who said, famous New York psychologist said the Beatles symbolically kill off the older generation. They show how neglected and misunderstood they believe themselves to be. What does that mean?
I don't know what it means. Ask him. A lot of rubbish, that. Rubbish, New York psychologist.
Yes.
I don't know what it means, but you symbolically kill off the older generation. What? Do you have any
It's not
feeling?
true, you know. They think that we're sort of going around chopping everyone to bits and things, but we're not. All right, Dad.
What, Dad, are you?
Yeah. No, he's
at home.
He's at home. All right.
Yeah. It's all right, Dad. He's not going to kill off the older generation. Is that what you mean?
No, I'm not. No.
But there must be some answer that has occurred to you that has made this success, apart from the music, as I say, that you sing and play. Have you seen any single quote that you said, that's it, that must be why we did it?
Well, the way I look at it is... the way I see it, anyway.
George, do you think that they're all just looking for reasons that don't exist?
Well, you know, nobody likes to think there isn't any real reason. But, you know, I'm sure they're wrong because we've just done it the same way as everybody else. But we've just had a laugh and a smile and a laugh. Haven't we? You know, and just played it by ear.
Yeah, but that's
Saying it again. I'm having a catchphrase.
But at what point did it begin to surprise you? When did you sit back and be amazed, or was it too gradual? Did it creep up on you?
I was amazed the day we got paid. That's me.
Well, I hope that continues for a long time. We're going to have a lot more talk in a few minutes from now. We're going to, as I say, meet Catherine Whitehorn, and we're going to meet Wolf Mankiewicz, and we're going to see the Beatles in action.
Oh, great.
Yes, we'll be hearing their latest two records in a couple of moments, so we'll see you then.
See you then.
Welcome back. The reason I'm sitting here is that for a long time I wanted to do something I never did, and that was be in an audience when the Beatles were playing and singing. So I'm achieving that. I have to sit on the floor, but seats are hard come by here tonight. And if they're set, they are going to let us hear the two sides of their latest recording, another inevitable success. It's all inevitable. So let's hear them both. First of all, Ticket to Ride, and yes, it is. So let's go then with the Beatles. Talking to them earlier on, I began to wonder whether I agreed or not with a quote I made a note of here of Brian Epstein's description of the Beatles in his book, A Cellar Full of Noise. He said, one of them had the glamour, one the command, one the little man's quaintness, and one was the boy next door. Now, I've never met this lady next door here. What's your name?
Jackie.
Jackie, would you like to try and work it out for me, if you haven't read the book? Which is the one who has the glamour?
I would say Paul.
You'd say Paul. Everyone agree with that? George. Oh, disagreement. All right. Yes. And which one has the command?
I think John.
You would think John?
Yes.
I see. All right. One, the little man's quaintness.
Ringo. Yes. Ringo.
And the boy next door. George. Well, the girls behind you got it wrong, but you got it right. You're absolutely right. That's the way it goes. I'm going to join the four of them again now. But we're also being joined by Observer columnist, delighted to welcome her back, Catherine Whitehorn. And as I told you earlier, also by writer Wolf Mankiewicz. Wolf, you're very welcome again.
He's been on before.
He has indeed, and I hope you'll be on again too.
He won't if he carries on the way he's been carrying on tonight. Get him, Wolf. Terrifying giggle. Get him, Wolf.
Very good.
Show us your picture, Show us your picture.
Only if you show me yours.
Catherine, in your column this morning, you were talking about a situation that will soon involve Ringo here, about what to say, the problem of giving an honest opinion about a new baby. You know, when someone says, here's the new baby, what do you say? Have you got any tips that can be offered, not necessarily to Ringo, but to his colleagues, what they say?
Well, I was just going to say, Ringo is the last person I have to give an honest opinion about the new baby. All I said was that if you don't know what to say about the kid, the uglier it is, the more pleased the parents are if you say, it's just like you.
They all look the same to me.
It's easier to have an old children. Old children.
An old children?
Yes. An old child. Children.
Well,
Your wife, I'm sure.
No.
I don't get it.
I don't know. Doesn't it?
It's a deep remark. I know I have an American friend who has a surefire friend.
Have you?
Yep. When he sees a baby, when someone says, what do you think of the baby? All he does, he looks in the cot of the pram and he says, that's a baby.
Oh, but you want to watch that, because sometimes it goes wrong. There was one man who tried to play that one, and he looked at it and said, is that a baby? And someone got it wrong.
Sometimes it's a very unbooked upset, isn't it? Is it?
Unbooked, we don't know that term here. But, Wolf, you too, like Catherine, joined the ranks of the Sunday columnists today. And
just as a visitor.
Apart from what you said just now about John's giggle, I quote you, you said that although the Beatles, today you said this, make a cult of casualness, you added, I don't think the Beatles are at all modest. Would you care to repeat that now in front of them?
I don't think the Beatles are at all modest.
He's right. Neither do we. He spotted it, didn't he?
They need to be modest.
I think that four highly, well, much of their publicity points out their modesty, which derives from their casualness, which derives from their contempt with which they treat their audiences, essentially.
Do you think that they treat their audiences with contempt?
Oh, yes. They're so assured of the reaction of the audience that they...
Joking. No. You're all there. We might be modest, but for instance, today we did a show. It's the first time we've done anything for months live. We were petrified because we've been making a film, you see, actually, it's on United. And we were petrified there. We always are, so we're not that immodest.
But I mean, personal appearances don't actually hurt the sales of your records. I mean, your last record pre-subscribed 350,000.
That doesn't mean a thing, though. That doesn't mean say it's going to jump in like everybody thinks. That means that dealers have ordered. Sorry about that, Paul.
It's all right.
Dealers have ordered that many, but it doesn't mean say people are going to buy them. It's when they've ordered them and people come and buy them from them.
3 records ago was pre-subscribed 1 million.
I know, but that's only the dealers.
No, I don't mind.
But it's still only the dealers. It's not people putting their names down to buy records.
It's not symptomatic of a modest regard for audiences that artists appear on television in front of some 10 million possible buyers of records. I mean, I'm not knocking you, I'm just being realistic.
No, but just you switch the subject Wolf in a way.
Aren't you? I mean, they do it for the money just like anybody else, and it might be you or me.
Right, Mrs.
I'm
Right.
not
I'm not Mrs. Right on glasses.
But you were saying that that you're mixing, or deliberately, no doubt, mixing modesty with assurance in front of an audience. I don't believe that, as John has said, that even the Beatles, with all their experience, will ever go out in front of an audience and be assured that they've got a good audience.
Every time we... Every time we release a record, we really are terrified that it's not going to make it, honest.
Well, why is that, do you think?
Because
with the size of the machine,
people
the
expect
success
it.
machine that you now have, massed behind you, why do you have to be nervous?
Well, it's worse for us than other people, because we've got to keep up doing what we've done before. If we don't do it as well, people will knock you, even though you're doing better than anybody else, and you're doing it not as well as you did before. You're in trouble.
But now you're a serious incursion into the film business. Your last film grossed very big money.
Yeah, that doesn't mean to say that our next film is going to be the biggest flop out. You know, could be.
No.
You can't pre-subscribe things like films or the goodness of records.
Yeah, there is a certain algebra to these things. I mean, it's known, for example, that though James Bond films will eventually, algebra, you remember what that is? Though James Bond films will eventually drop off, they will build an accumulative business based upon the business they did before. Similarly, the next Beatles film must do something very near to the business of the last Beatles.
You weren't saying that before. You were saying that the thing about the pre-subscribed thing is that it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, but it does, you see. It really does, you know. Because if the word gets round that this next film's a bad film, however pre-subscribed it is, it'll be a flop, you know. And the third one will really finish us.
Even if the third one's very good, if the second one will make it.
You can't do bad things, you know. I mean, maybe
I think that the Beatles are in the situation of to use a metaphor I'm used to, a boxer who has never been beaten. Each fight gets tougher because he hasn't had a defeat.
Yeah. Right.
So for that reason, you need to have a genuine modesty towards the audience. So that's what we're arguing.
Yeah, the modesty is...
You're frightened of the audience.
Yeah, well, it's sort of as opposed to conceit, really. You can't be conceited and still worry that every time you go on the people aren't going to like it.
I think you can.
Can you?
I think you can be conceited, but you can still worry. I've met lots of conceited people who are worried before they go on. I don't think the two things connect at all. You can be conceited and worried.
You can't be fully conceited and worried. If you're totally conceited, you just don't worry.
Oh, I know. What about Alfred Lunt when they...
Who's that? What about him?
You might have heard of him. He was a century and a half before your time, maybe. But there's a story that he and his wife, Lynn Fontaine, and he was saying, how was I in the evening's performance? And she said, you were just fine, you were marvellous. I was absolutely terrible. You did look a little tired, but you were just a terrific actor. But I was ghastly, I was appalling, I don't know how I got through it. And when she'd finished depraising herself, he said, I was a little tired, was I?
Yeah. Well, Wolf there a moment ago mentioned the algebra of the box office, which you picked up straight away.
He mentioned that.
He did.
Education.
That's it. Before I go any further, I'm just going to quote from Brian's book here, which I did already, Cellarful of Noise. And he describes you as 4 young men in their early 20s who left school before they should, who can neither read music nor write it, who care not a fig or a damn or a button for anyone, save a tight, close-guarded clique of less than a dozen.
He's 24 now, we've met some more people.
Have you? Is that basically still true, the last part of it?
Well, it's true with most people, isn't it? Because you've got your circle of friends, you know. It's not true that we don't care down about anyone. We care more particularly for our circle of friends, I think. I think it's true about anyone, really, isn't it?
Well, what?
You rather slipped up, maybe.
No, I was.
Thanks, John. Thank you, Johnny.
No, I was fascinated to read this. It's gone up to 24, John says. Who are the 24? What sort of people are they that you have time for because you haven't much time in your lives anyway? What sort of people are your friends? Who is this clique?
Oh, yes. I can't think of any
people like us in the same business as us. People with the same interests, really. Because we don't get a chance to talk about other things. We talk shop a lot of the time. Like the Stones, we're always chatting to them about records.
Trying to remove me forcibly? Never mind about that. We'll get you off somehow. Well, I'd like to see a woman remove me forcibly. Oh, you would? Yes, I would. Oh, well, that could be arranged. Gladys, darling. A woman take me off. That'll do the day. Come here now. What?
We'd like to... All right.
Evening, Paul.
Good evening, boys. We'd like to carry on with a song which is the B-side of our latest record. Called I'm Down. You tell lies thinking I can't see. You can't cry cause you're laughing at me. I'm down. I'm really down. I'm down. Down on the ground. I'm down. I'm really down. How can you laugh when you know I'm down? How can you laugh when you know I'm down? Man by swing, woman throws it away. Same old thing happen every day. I'm down. I'm really down. I'm down. Down on the ground. I'm down. I'm really down. How can you laugh when you know I'm down? How can you laugh when you know I'm down? When you know I'm down, how can you laugh? When you know I'm down, Thank you very much. Thank you.
Tour Bar Original, we're calling it. It's take one. All right, here we go.
One, two, three, four.
Q Studio, camera B, red light.
Hey, it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday.
Never mind, it's Christmas Saturday.
No, it should have been you.
I said one, then you said one, then you said one on the ad lib.
Righto, we'll try that again. Q Studio, Q from the top.
Hey, it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday.
Oh, aye.
No.
Let's try that again. Q Studio, Q
We go
Studio.
to pieces when the red light comes on.
Q Studio.
I forgot my line already.
It's Christmas Day.
Man, you're famous for it.
Oh, man, you're great.
Hey, it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday.
So it is.
Well?
So, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to pause now for a few minutes while we just thrash Ringo into learning his lines.
Right, are you
Beat him
ready?
normally with a
Yes, go on,
rhinoceros
I've got
whip.
it. I've got it now. I
Give
know
him a
it.
stick in each hand, it usually helps.
Hey!
You got a watch on?
I know, but I'm acting. Do you mind?
Right, Q Studio.
Do you mind?
Take it from the top.
Hey, it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday.
So it is.
Hey, and it's Christmas Day.
Let's go home then.
Saturday Club, diddle-ella, Saturday Club, diddle-ella, Saturday Club, diddle-ella, Saturday Club, diddle-ella, Saturday Club.
Okay, gather round then. Get George in as well. Now he's called.
Stop saying.
Are we doing the bar?
Maria, the most beautiful word I ever heard. Maria.
Come on, let's do it.
Thank you, Jim Proby. And
Not at all.
Get on, boy.
hello, they're back. Well, a few words then.
Sorry, Brian, hang on. Searchers, can I have quiet, please, just for a few moments while we record some chat?
It's a hit.
Here it is.
Hit.
Who's the drum?
Thank you very much, Jim Proby.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Get down, Rover.
Hello, they're back. Well, it's nice of you to drop in and talk to us this Christmas Day, lads.
Oh, we weren't doing anything.
No,
Not at all, Brian. It's Merry Christmas to you.
Christmas Day. You know
Thank
what it's
you.
like.
No?
No, they won't let you, you know.
I see. What are you going to do then, Ringo, for the rest of the day?
Watch telly, you know. I never listen to radio.
I see. George?
I'll listen to the radio as well as watch telly and eating food and generally rejoicing throughout the land.
Splendid, Paul.
Well, same sort of thing, really, I think, basically.
Pull a cracker?
Yes, that sort of thing, except I never...
Never do pull crackers.
Watch
I
telly.
hate crackers.
Yeah. John?
Just eating, I think. I'll do that.
All right. Well, we can't ask you to work today,
No,
obviously,
It's
as
not
you said.
allowed. Penny in a pound.
Oh. Well, we'll play your record. Does it matter which side we play?
We
no,
can work it out.
any side.
Yeah, we can work it out.
Can you?
We can work it out.
We'll sort it out
As
amongst
long as you
yourselves then.
can.
Oh, yes, all right.
We
I think
can.
Have
we
you
can.
got it?
Yeah, we've got it right here.
Oh, good.
I'm
Well, you
putting
tell us
it
if I
on
haven't got it.
now. Well, that was me doing my bit. And now Beatlebox jury, I think, for Christmas Day. We'll go round. Ringo, what did you think of that?
Well, I thought it was a lovely song, Norman. I thought it was really wonderful, and it's a nice foot tapper, and will really get the kids swinging for Christmas Day.
Thank you. Paul.
And it'll reach the top
Well-
100.
He's not been selling too well lately, but this looks as though he's coming in with a great chance. It's certainly got the beat the kids adore these days, though myself, I don't like the backing. Well, anyway, two say will, two say won't, so it's
John.
bound to be a hit.
I thought it was nice to dance to, but I don't know about the top 20. Well, his first record came out in 1938, backed by Ted Heath and the Mongrel Makers. Along with them, they had a great percussion, but after that, there was nothing heard of him, and I hope he comes back again.
Thank you, Maurice Kim. And George?
Well, I prefer the old Stanley Unwin version of this record. And I don't think that Brian Matthews' voice gives this song much credit. And I don't like all these protest songs about boots.
will you vote this a hit or a miss, panel? Click, click.
Two say will, two say won't.
It's a
So-
definite middling.
Let's see what they think of the next one.
Which is, as it happens, one of yours. Track from
What is
your
it?
new LP. I don't know what it
Hit,
is.
hit,
We're going to
hit.
ask you to choose
Hit, hit.
one.
Well, how about
Let us think.
Baby, You Can Drive My Car?
The show at Christmas, listeners, and I hope you've enjoyed the show, because we've all enjoyed listening to it and being on it. Thank you, and there's John.
Yes, Christmas to everyone, and the searches were wonderful, I thought, and hit.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I hope you've, as George says, enjoyed listening to this Christmas edition of Saturday Club. I thought Brian Matthews was wonderful, and that singing certainly proves that he's got another career ahead of him when he gets sacked next week from the BBC. Thank you, and here's Ringo.
Well, I'd just like to wish you all Merry Christmas and hope you're having wonderful parties and good time. Wonderful. And playing all wonderful records and having a wonderful time. Merry Christmas.
Smashing.
That means a lot. Remake. Take 20, we're calling it. Take 20.
Go ahead.
What was the beat?
1, 2, 3.
A friend says that your love won't mean a lot, but you know that your love is all you've got. At times things are so fine, and at times they're not. But when she said she loves you, that means a lot. Says that your love is never true, but you
It's just a test. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
A friend says that your love don't mean a lot, but you know that your love is all you've got. At times things are so fine, and at times they're not. But when she says she loves you, that means a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, thanks, Norm.
The Beatles!
And that, in fact, does bring us to the end of our concert for this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us. Hope you've enjoyed it. You've been a wonderful audience. I'm sure the ABC television will agree, too, that you reacted wonderfully to everything. And I hope you'll enjoy seeing it on television the next 2 Sundays. We'll be here, of course, again at round about this same time next year. And if you can get tickets, well, we hope to see all your smiling faces again then. So, goodbye for now, everybody. Thanks for coming, and see you next year.
Thank you very much for a very kind introduction. Here, I don't know if you can hear me better now, and welcome to the great Twickenham studios. where the boys, the Beatles, are making their new film Help. And I am actually with the Beatles now and to present them with their Grandma Awards, which they have won from America. And they're delighted to be here this afternoon to receive them. And I have had the singular honor, I think, having been asked to present them. May I say?
Yes, you may.
Great pleasure.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's a great pleasure for us too, I'm sure.
Sure. There are some more in here. Perhaps you'd like to just take one.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mr. Ustinov.
Thank you.
Thank you. As you can see, folks, the box is now empty. And there are no more awards.
It's an honor, to say the least.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a chance, really, isn't it?
Itza.
Longua.
Longua.
Toi
type.
Arrête.
Arrête.
It's a long way, toi type
I would have hated it, I think. You know, I think all of us might have been, if we hadn't stuck with the group, we might have just ended up, you know, like George being an electrician and Ringo being a fitter and John being a bum. And, you know, us just doing things we didn't enjoy much.
We would have been probably playing modern jazz now in some crummy club.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do we like modern jazz?
Because we would have been so fed up playing the same things that we would have progressed. But now we don't progress because we play the same things every time we play somewhere.
But isn't it? It's a kind of a progression, though, and the style is altered slightly.
Yeah, but slightly. But the thing is, we used to improve at a much faster rate before we ever made records. Well, I think so, because we used to get so fed up playing the same things, so we'd always learn new songs all the time.
Or even with the old songs, you do them different almost any time, but when you make records, you've got to reproduce as near as you can the record, so you don't really get a chance to improvise or improve your style.
And as a result of this and your increasing popularity, how has it affected you? Is it possible you're going to become bored with being the Beatles for year after year at the top?
You don't get bored, because there's so many different things happen, like MBEs or premieres, and they're all different, you know, so as soon as you start getting bored with something like a tour, the tour's over and something else starts. You don't get a chance to get bored. And there's always Ringo, isn't there?
Now, the Beatles Abroad, introduced by Brian Matthew.
With a sensational concert before 55,000 screaming fans in the Shea Stadium, New York. I joined the boys in their hotel just before the show and asked them if they felt any apprehension.
I was just saying to someone before, but don't really get nervous when there's that many people, because they can't hear you when there's that many, you know. Right. So we just listen to them.
And nothing can go wrong.
It really sounds out there, I think. The thing is, even if something really terrible goes wrong...
Shout, the Beatles' first major hit, and still the number with which they open all their concerts. I found in New York that I was just about able to distinguish the number through the screams and shouts. I was sitting next to a 14-year-old boy from the Bronx and asked him what he liked about the Beatles.
I appreciate their music more than anything else. The prospect of hearing them is just overwhelming.
I had heard this 14-year-old professor talking earlier about the relative merits of the Shea Stadium and the Houston Coliseum, which we were due to visit later in the tour.
Well, in Houston, they've got a dome stadium, and we were discussing as to whether the sound would be better there because it's closed in. The acoustics would be far superior because there's not that much free circulating air.
And getting back to the Beatles, I asked this young gentleman what he thought made them great.
Musically, as entertainers, there's no entertainer in the world that can get the response that they have, that they sort of, well, whenever they come on, the response is unlike that of any other group in the world.
He then went on to tell me that his favorite Beatle was John Lennon.
He's probably the most intelligent, the most well-spoken, and I like the way he acts in public, in recording conferences, in press conferences and stuff. He always seems to be the one who's able to make the best off-the-cuff statements. He's got an eloquence that isn't eloquent.
Through most of this, the professor's 10-year-old brother had stood in open-mouthed admiration. I asked him what he thought about it all.
I agree with my brother, even though I don't know mostly what he's talking about.
Neither did I. Well, so much for the boys. The audience consisted mainly, of course, of girls. I wondered if those nearest me thought that the Beatles had sex appeal. Collapse of young party. Let's have an assessment now of your feelings about the initial concert in Shea Stadium.
Well, it was marvellous. It was the biggest crowd we ever played to.
Was it really? Yeah. Even counting Australia?
Yeah, anywhere in the world. It was the biggest live show I think anybody's ever done.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
and it was fantastic, you know. And it was just great. They could almost hear us as well, even though they're making a lot of noise because the amplification.
It was very good, actually. I must confess I could only distinguish about 3 of the numbers, which I happened to know and could hear.
Yeah, well, the well-known ones you can pick up.
That's right, yeah. Did you do anything that you don't normally do?
Yeah, we did Iron Down, so, you know, because I did the organ on the record, I decided to play it on stage. It was the first time. I didn't really know what to do because I felt naked with that guitar, so I was doing old jelly deals, put my foot on it and George couldn't play for laughing.
The Beatles made their entry and exit to Shea Stadium in New York by helicopter, and I think George can fill us in on a few of the details. You didn't actually drop into the arena.
No,
what did you do, George?
They wouldn't allow us to drop right into the arena like last year. And so we had to land on the roof of the World Fair. From there we went into the stadium in a Wells Fargo armoured truck. That was good. I didn't think Wells Fargo was still going, actually. The Indians got it on years ago.
And then in an underground tunnel?
No.
You came right into the middle of the track?
Yeah, right into the stadium.
The reason I don't know this is because there were about 50,000 standing up on their chairs in front of me, you know. And you went out the same way?
Yeah, went out by helicopter, yeah.
He seemed to be circling around.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. When we got on the helicopter on Wall Street, and instead of going right to the show, the fellow started going round, zooming round the stadium, saying, "Look at that, isn't it great, fellas? And look at the World Fair, and look at this, and we're hanging on there by the skin of our teeth, thinking, yeah, let's get out of here."
Could have done without that. Well, the Beatles did get out of it by armoured car and helicopter once again. And as we relaxed in their hotel suite, I wondered what these lords of the universe, with all the world at their command, would choose to eat in their 32nd floor eyrie.
Well, now we've just ordered egg and chips, so they don't normally eat that, but they fry eggs in the morning, they make chips of the steak, so we combine it, and you get egg and chips.
And then a few beans.
And beans if they've got them, I don't know.
Food for the gods. Though at that moment they looked like very tired mortals, and I couldn't help feeling that John looked a little sad.
No, it wasn't. Well, you know, you do, when it's all over, you come down a bit, you know, and you start thinking, well, I've done that now, I think I'll go home, you know. Well, it's probably those glasses I was wearing, you know, those reflective mirrors. It was your own face you were seeing in the glasses, you see. I was probably smiling underneath them. I was quite happy. You have about an hour and a half where you're quite quiet, you know, and everybody else is rushing in saying, "Have a great show, a lousy show, did you see that kid, did you see this?" And you're just sort of recovering from it all, because you get to such a, you know, you get so tense when you're doing those shows. It takes about an hour and a half to come down again.
It certainly does, yes.
So it was probably, I wasn't sad though, I was elated.
From New York, the Beatles entourage flew to Toronto. Now, this was my first time across the border into Canada, but the boys were old hands at the game. George explained the procedure on previous visits.
Well, every time we go, we've got to go through customs into Canada, then back, the American customs back into America.
Do they make it a bit tricky, or is it fairly easy?
Yeah, you know, they usually let us through quite easily, but Mal's got to stay behind with all the baggage.
Yeah. Well, I must say, when I arrived today, everybody in New York is talking about the Beatles. I get to the airport and there's guys there saying, "Say, do you think you could send an autograph of this address?" and the stuff he thinks about pockets. Do you find this kind of thing goes on with you?
Yeah.
You lumbered with autographs even at customs and so on.
Oh, yeah, we'll normally, it's the same this flight. The people, when we land in New York, they come on the customs and the health immigration, all those people, they come on to check us first of all because they don't let us go through the building. Then we get off the plane and just drive right into the city.
Yeah.
But normally they just come on and look around and then get out their autograph books and say, sign this. And it's the same with the police who are on duty in the hotel.
There's certainly plenty of them looking out.
They usually knock and you think they're going to arrest you and they pull out their book and ask for an autograph.
I was happy to find that also on the tour were my old friends Sounds Incorporated, and they were given a very difficult job of filling the spot immediately prior to the Beatles, and that's not easy. In Toronto, however, Sounds Incorporated went a storm. Their interpretation of Maria from West Side Story practically stopped the show, and I knew that the boys must have been excited by their wonderful reception. So, as soon as they came off stage, I rushed to their dressing room and spoke to David Clyde, otherwise known as Major, who does all the leaping about in front.
I'm sweating, I'm leaking all over. It's terrible.
Do you feel you're going to be able to do it?
I'm fine to do another. I really am. I'm looking for... I could do 16 of these tonight.
Is it the first time you've played Canada?
Yes, it is. Oh, it's a fabulous place. I love it.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, great.
Do you think you prefer it to what you've seen of working in America?
I don't know. You can't say because it's unfair. You know, we're not well known in America, and we've played an outdoor stadium with the biggest thing in the world, the Beatles.
Sure.
So you can't really judge. You know, you can say you didn't enjoy it, but this was the most exciting night for me, as Tony said. You know,
sounds to me like the fan reaction out there, as noisy as it is warm rather than it's terrible.
They're great. You know what it is? It's that sort of feeling like, you know, they were your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You feel so close to them.
Yeah.
I was out there, and I really felt like I could stand there and talk to them. I wasn't afraid that they would break up or throw something up. They were great. Very warm, friendly
It was
people.
one of the most exciting shows I've ever seen.
Oh, it was a knockout. I loved it.
And Sounds Incorporated went out on stage and loved it again in the second Sounds Incorporated. Now, as we travelled on from city to city, I became more and more conscious of the fact that the Beatles themselves were never, ever really free to go anywhere. I wondered how they felt about this themselves, and I asked George.
Well, we don't mind, you know, when we start a tour, we know very well it's going to be wild and lots of people and that we're going to be stuck in a hotel. We don't think we're coming over here to see the sights.
No, quite.
Like, that's the impression most people get, you know.
But then doesn't this go on for you all the time? I mean, wherever you are.
Yeah, but it just depends, you know. The thing is, we go out at home. And the thing is, you know, when you get into your head, you're going for 2 weeks touring, then you just forget about seeing the sights, And we, you know, always, in fact, over the last few years we've been in hotel rooms, we find a way of keeping ourselves amused.
Yeah, sure. You say you go out back home? I mean, I can't see you walking down the street, but what do you do?
We go out all over the place. In fact, in London, it's quite easy nowadays because there's so many people like us who, you know, who dress like us and who look like us, and, you know, there's so many the groups who all go out. You know, I was round Carnaby Street a few weeks ago. It was great, you know, it knocked me out because they're just walking along and a couple of people just look at you. They don't expect to see you going along.
They don't believe it's you anyway.
But we go out every night, you know, to the Scotch Club, the Ad Club, and all the groups go around. Nobody bothers anybody. It's good.
As it happens, George was the one Beatle to risk running the gauntlet of the fans on a Sunday in New York, and he went out to visit Sybil Burton's discotheque called Arthur. I asked him if he liked it.
It was okay, you know, it's a bit behind, you know, it's one of those, it's obvious, it's so hard to be hit, but it just doesn't quite make it.
Not as good as the ones back home?
Just like records and groups have become more popular. I just think the whole style, you know, British style is far better. And in fact, in clubs and everything, they just don't quite get it over here now.
Do you think it's going to go on like this?
Probably, you know, well, with music, fashion and everything, you know, just generally Britain seems to be a bit more hip than everybody else. Yeah. And I, you know, definitely didn't enjoy it as much as the places we go to back home.
And that was George singing too. Now, I know many reporters have found Ringo the hardest Beatle to get to. He seems to spend a lot of his time, even in a crowded room, sitting quietly by himself. But I've usually found that drummers are primarily interested in other drummers, and I wondered if Ringo spent any of his time listening to them.
Yeah, you know, I listen to them all the time when great drummers, well, especially over here, because all these bands are fantastic drummers, you know.
Even the ones that aren't really big name bands?
Yeah, you know, in all these groups that aren't known, you know, really. There's just all these fantastic drummers. It makes you feel like giving up.
Who are the best you've heard?
Well, in small groups, I don't know the names, you know, it's just...
Whatever name drummers, who do you like best?
I like sort of Buddy Rich and Joe Morello and people like that, you know, but I'll never be able to play like them.
What are the great characteristics that they've got that are so hard to get?
It looks so easy when they play, you know, and they do all this fantastic sort of they do sort of one-handed rolls, which is, you know, I can't do it too, and they just do it like, you know, as if they're having a sandwich. It's, you know, it's fantastic what they can do, but it would be no good playing like that in our group, you know, so...
Yeah, of course it would.
I wouldn't be playing like that.
I don't think I've ever heard Ringo speak at such length before. Anyway, that seemed to have broken the shyness barrier, so I then broached the more personal subject of why he and John didn't take their wives on tour with them.
First of all, it would be unfair to fetch him on tour because we travel about so much, and they, you know, they'd have to keep packing about the same as us. And if they go out, they still get they get bothered as well. And, you know, when we go abroad, I know my excuse is Maureen's flaring a little bit. Yeah, it's not too good, or that's bad thing.
Another thing that's frequently asked on going on this same subject, really, would you think that it's made any difference at all? Doesn't seem to have done for me, to the Beatles as a group, but two of you are now married. Once upon a time, it did make a difference to pop.
I think about 1957, 58.
Why did it make a difference?
Well, I think that, you know, all the fans have to realise that, you know, we're just human beings and we drink, smoke and get married like anybody else.
One of the things I've found while I've been over here is that because I meet the Beatles, people sort of take a kind of interest in that in itself, and I get interviewed as well as having to do interviews. And one of the things that I've been asked frequently is something I can't answer. So let's see if I can get an answer from Paul. And that is, do you sort of set any possible kind of time limit to how long you may operate as the Beatles, as a singing instrumental group?
No, not really, because we've never made any plans or never kept any sort of, you know, made any time limit in the past. For instance, we never limited the time we were ever going to be playing at the Cavern or anything.
Oh, okay.
So after the Cavern, we never made any plans for how long our record career was going to be. Or we never made plans, in fact, even that we were going to go into films, you know. So now that we're doing things, you know, that we never expected to do, we're not going to set a time limit on them now, you know.
No, sure, you just play it by ear.
Yeah, we just see what happens, and as soon as we stop selling records or stop selling tickets for concerts, we'll finish then.
Sure. Would you visualise the possibility, though, of even if you cease to exist as a performing group, of yourself and John maybe continuing as writers on a different plane?
I don't know. I suppose that kind of thing might happen.
You did have plans at one time, at least half plans, of thinking of a stage musical. Has that gone any further?
Yeah, we were thinking about that. The only drag was when we first thought of the idea, we thought we'd do something about Liverpool, and we'll do this and that. And suddenly realised Lionel Bart was writing it, you know.
Yeah.
He was writing it at that time, and he had the idea, you know. So we thought, oh well, better give in with that. So we keep trying to think of ideas for them, because I think we'd like to do one. We'd like to do one and make it very modern.
Yes, exactly.
You know, dead modern, with the kind of music that's selling today.
Sure.
So the kind of popular music, you know, because that's in fact what people like Cole Porter did, you know.
In their own period, exactly.
They just did. They were pop songs, you know. They are the songs that today are the standards.
Yeah.
I think the mistake people are making is they're writing shows now with standards in them.
Yeah.
Because older people go to the theatre, and it's going to be silly because in 50 years' time we're not going to have standards then, because you know it's like
we'll have the same ones.
Exactly, it's like somebody said to me about Hello Dolly, and they said that in 20 years' time that's going to be the big standard. It sounds logical, but I just suddenly thought, well, why should it be? Because in 20 years' time it's going to be like Black Bottom. You know, it'll be that old then, and it may not be a standard. There'll be a new kind of standard then, you know.
Sure.
Just hope some of our music's in it.
Well, of Beatle music in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the #1 song. Well, as you can hear, the Beatles don't stop playing when they're off stage, at least George doesn't. Just regular George, you just feel like playing today?
Just feel like playing today, Brian.
That's nice
Just
of you.
playing, Brian.
And when you came off after the first concert, you and John were moaning about the fact that your instruments were out of tune. What do you think was the reason? Because you spent long enough tuning them before you went on.
It's funny, you know, it's all the heat and
everything, yeah, everything like that puts the thing out. But once you go on stage, there's such a tremendous noise that if you are out of tune and you try and put it straight, it ends up more out than when you started.
Yes, well, you're probably the only one noticing it anyway.
And I think I'm the only one out of the world who could never get a guitar really in tune, ever.
I thought you bought them ready tuned.
I wish, I've been seriously thinking of getting Keith Richard onto it to tune up for us.
He's good at that, isn't he?
Yeah, but he sounds as though he's in tune. I have a hell of a lot of trouble.
How's it sound now?
Oh, this one's okay. This is one of them that's John's, you see. It's in tune now, but guarantee by the time we put it down, it'll be miles out.
Give us a strum, let's see. And there are no doubt those who would call the average Beatle fan a dizzy Miss Lizzie, but I wouldn't agree. There's a great deal to admire in John, Paul, George and Ringo. I think I've managed to get something of an insight into the way they live on tour and the way they think. Well, I hope this programme's passed just a little of this on to you. But let's give the last word to one disappointed fan who'd camped out at John Kennedy Airport in the hope of catching a glimpse of her idols.
We're not even going to see him. They bring him in the back way. And I don't think it's fair. I've been here almost all night since 1 a.m. The cops been threatening to put us in jail and get us in trouble. And I'm sick of it. We're not even going to see him. It wasn't even worth it. It isn't even worth it to show up. I don't even know why I was even talking to coming. It wasn't worth it. Help! I need somebody.